So in this export example, we're going to export out, we're going to create our files for our SCS 900 or SiteWorks files, as well as our GCS machine files. So to do this, instead of the export option, we're going to go to the construction data tab, and we're going to kind of start by creating a job site. So we're going to create a job site that's associated to this project. So I'm going to create a job site. It's going to be a new site, and I'm just going to give it a name. We'll call it viewer project, and we can assign it to a controller if you've synced up your controllers to your computer and or created a machine. Now I have some dummy machines that I'm associating to this project, as well as a folder that I have called SCS 900. Basically what that does is, in your C drive under Trimble Synchronizer data folder, you'll see that I've got this demo dozer, and it's got a machine data file, okay, and I'm going to overwrite the data that's there. But then I also have this SCS 900 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 controller. So it's just a folder that's in Trimble Synchronizer data. So that's where Business Center is looking for this folder. Inside of that folder, you want to make sure that you have this Trimble space SCS 900 space data folder, and that's actually where this project is going to get created. So inside of here, you'll see that I have a bunch of projects already created, and as soon as I click OK, you're going to see that that viewer is going to show up in a folder here. So this is kind of a neat way to manage and control your data. All right, so as soon as I do this, we'll see this viewer project folder. So I'm going to click OK, and you can see here that it's going to replace the dozer data. So the data that's already on this folder, I'm going to go ahead and replace it. That's what this warning is telling me. So I'm going to click OK to that, and then it comes up and it asks for a project library. So now if you're going to Earthworks, that's where the project library would come into play. So here I may come in and choose either TCC or a folder. So I'm going to click folder, and I'm going to create a new folder, and that's going to create in another folder on my C drive called project library. So let's go ahead and keep that folder there. The site settings, you can look at the units, control the units, so that's fine. We're going to leave that the way it is. If I had a site cal, I would load it here, but we're going to do the calibration on the field. If I have my control points, I would go ahead and select them here. So you're basically going to click on this plus or minus, select the control points, and then click add. Now I don't have any in this particular project, so I'm just going to hit cancel on this one. The site map would be any line work that you want to export out. Maybe it's a limit of disturbance or a property boundary within your project. So if I come into here, I can zoom out and maybe pick the outer boundary or the limits of disturbance as just kind of a reference point or an orientation point for my operators. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and click on maybe this limits here that's around this boundary. So we'll just click this line right here. I'm going to add that as my outer boundary. I'm going to click OK to this. And if I had any avoidance zones I want to stay out of, I could choose that as well. And as well as I could choose the feature codes maybe that I want to be used. All right, so that's just setting up the job site. The next step would be then to create the design. So right next to job site, we got create the design. We're going to give it a name. We're going to call it lots. I think this is, let's see if we take a look at our surfaces over here, lots 1 through 3. So I'm going to call this lots 1 through 13. I'm going to assign it to that controller and that machine as well. And I'm going to click OK. The surface I'm going to use is that grading surface. I'm going to leave the name the way it is, and I'm going to click OK again. So that's just created the surface. The stakeout points, if I had any, I could select those. And then the design map, what I want to stake out, I can come here and I can pick the line work. So again, using by layer, I want to grab the sidewalk, and grab that sidewalk. We'll grab that back of curb, here the gutter line, and the back of curb and the center lines. So we'll grab those. So I'm selecting that information, and then I'm going to click add. make sure you select it and then select add so that it shows that they're added. And then I'm going to click OK. So we've got our surface selected. We've got our design map selected. You can see it's going to go to these controllers in this machine. And I'm going to click close. Now you'll see here when I come over to this controller, there's the viewer project. Inside the viewer project you can see the site XML. I have a viewer project DXF, which is that outer boundary that I selected. My work orders I haven't done yet, but my designs you'll see under lots 1 through 13 as I have a DXF file as well as a TTM file. So that TTM file is the surface, the DXF file is all the line work. Now the last thing that I would need to do in this case is to generate the work order, or I could generate the work order out on the SCS 900. So to do the work order I could come over here and click create. We'll give it a work order, we'll call it steak, let's see here, steak lots. I'm going to use that controller. I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to pick my design, and I can view. So we'll go ahead and save those changes. Take a view. So there's the data that we've exported. That's the information that's going to be show up on our controller. We're good, and I'm just going to hit OK. So now you'll see in my folder under work orders, under steak lots, I've got my work order now. So that's how to get the data out to the SCS in one shot. So I've created my SCS data folder as well as my machine folder. So if I go back to here and I look under that demo dozer, under machine control data, there's my project data, my SVL for my limits, and as well as my SVL and my SVD for my surfaces. So by using this method of this job site, you'll see that job site also exists within my project. So my design and my work orders and everything are already here. So I can send that out to my controllers, and then I'm able to bring that data back in. But with this method, job sites, create design, create the work order, I've created both my GCS files and my SCS files, or my site work files. To do the earthworks, we have one more step, and that would be to publish to the library. So on the construction data tab, once you go through these first few steps, the last step here would be to publish to the library. Publishing it to the library, you can see it's actually going to create in this DSZ file for my earthworks machine. So when I go ahead and do that and hit publish, it's created those files, and that data is going to show up in my on my C drive. You'll see that I've got this project library folder, and that's set up by default upon the install. You can see under projects is I've got that that information. So here's the viewer project, here's the office data, here's my designs. So you can see that there's that lot 1 through 13 DSZ file. So by using this method of exporting, I'm able to export out the DXF for my SCS, my SiteWorks, my TTMs for my SiteWorks and SCS 900, as well as my GCS, SVLs, and SVDs. And then the last step would be to publish for the earthworks machine. So that would be the method of exporting out this data for use on your controllers or your machine and equipment.